Hello, everybody, and welcome to Six Pack Sam Sports, aka Six Pack Sports. And today we got a good one. I know I've been a little gone, been busy with a lot of stuff, had a lot of other opportunities come up, um, and been working as well. But today we're kind of talking about the head coach situation. I know this has been a long overdue video, uh, but it's finally here. It's finally here. As you know, Jamahl Mosley was dismissed as the head coach for the Orlando Magic. Obviously, it's kind of out the way, and now he's in New Orleans. Already got a new job in New Orleans, and I gotta say, we should be thankful for Mosley's time here. He has really turned this whole Magic team around from what it was in the past, few seasons, these past few years. He got them to the playoffs, just unfortunately wasn't able to get past the first round. Um, and now we're looking for someone to get us over that hump, to take us to the next step, to take us to the Eastern Conference Finals, the finals. We're looking for that guy. We're not in the rebuild stage anymore, and it looks like Jamahl Mosley has kind of found that again, maybe within the Pelicans organization over there. He's got a squad to work with, and I think the Pelicans are kind of looking kind of for the same thing to kind of get them a little bit over the hump and back relevant again into the playoffs. I know the Pelicans have been struggling a lot these past few seasons, but they have a lot of good pieces: Zion Williamson, Trey Murphy, Jeremiah Fears, Derek Queen. So they got a lot of good young potential guys over there. DeJounte Murray as well. So they have some pieces, and I think Jamahl Mosley will be successful in New Orleans. But we're not talking about New Orleans or any of that. We're talking about the Orlando Magic. And so there's obviously been a lot of talk of Billy Donovan being the main candidate of taking over this Magic team. And I think the Magic are kind of they it's important to figure out who's going to take this Magic team over the hump. Who's going to really make this Magic team the expectation we had this season? Who's going to make them that top 4-3 seed that we expected? Because I'm sure everyone wants to see the Magic, well, at least Magic fans, but everyone would like to see all the Magic fans would love to see this team succeed and watch them going into May and June, just like how the Knicks and Cavaliers are. Well, now just the Knicks, but I'm sure that everyone would love to see them go deep into the playoffs. Again, it's been so long since the Magic team has done that. Back in I think 08, 09 kind of seasons when we made a huge deep run. Kind of the early 2010s. So that was kind of like the last time. And so now we're kind of in this position on who's gonna sell themselves, to get this head coaching position. And there's a lot of great options. I know it's been rumored Billy Donovan, obviously, Jeff Van Gundy, Sean Sweeney, maybe Jason Kidd now after he was departed from the Mavericks organization. Maybe some even other guys that could come in the picture. Chris Quinn as well. I think I saw him maybe on the radar. So there's a lot of potential options here, and I think the Magic have to figure out if you want experience, or are you going to give the new guy, the assistant coach who hasn't been in charge of a team or anything like that, the throne, the seat to lead this Magic team over this hump. And obviously the assistant coaches, they have to sell themselves on what their plan is. How are they going to construct this roster? How are they uh, going to develop this team in becoming better than this season? Um, what offensive development, offensive scheme, defensive scheme are they going to run with this squad or potential new squad? Um, and that's something that the Magic are going to be doing a lot of interviews for. It's been, I think, what, a month and a half now since Mosley's fire, maybe a month. I'm not too sure on that, but obviously a lot of round of interviews that are happening. And so obviously Billy Donovan, very well known around the league, has led a good Bulls team, just not a lot of talent, and helped him reach a lot of the plans in some of the seasons he was there in Chicago. Led some of that good OKC team as well, and obviously the Magic have some history with Billy Donovan. Back in 2007 when he was gonna sign, but kind of backed out of it. And went back to Florida to obviously go win a championship again there with the Gators. And so that's just that's old news. And I know probably a lot of people don't want Billy Donovan because of that, but it's old news. It's in the past. And Billy Donovan obviously has his coaching style of what he wants. And obviously great coaching career at Florida for the Gators. And so the Magic have to figure that out on how is he going to fit with this team. And I think that also goes for Jason Kidd as well after his departure with the Mavericks. Obviously, a lot of experience. Was in big development with Giannis and Luka Doncic. I think he's a top candidate for the Magic, and I will say, the Magic are a hot destination spot for a head coach position. We're not a team that's rebuilding. This is a team that we are looking to make deep playoff runs and get to the finals. You have Paolo, Franz, and Bane. Those are your three main guys on this roster that you have to get in order and figure out how are you going to get them over the hump. Obviously, they're on big contracts. I mean, even Jalen Suggs, this team, it's big on contracts right now. And, you're going to have to figure out some guys on who's going to fit and who's not. But obviously, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, and Desmond Bane are your three main guys that you got to figure out which coach is going to work well with that. And so, like I said, Jason Kidd, Billy Donovan, a lot of experience as a head coach. Jeff Van Gundy has some experience as a head coach as well. I don't clear him out of this position as well, but I know he's been in the league for a long time. I think 20 years of coaching, and 11 of those 20 years as a head coach. So you can't count out Jeff Van Gundy as well, and he's obviously been a great coach. He led a Knicks team to an Eastern Conference Finals, so he has that experience as well. And so I think the Magic, like I said, need to figure out, do they want experience or do they want to give the new guy a shot? And obviously, one person that really stands out, I kind of have two people that kind of stand out. Sean Sweeney. Sean Sweeney has been kind of rumored to have a head coach position for sure. He has a deep track record of developing young stars. He's worked with Giannis as well, Wemby this season. He's also been on Jason's Kidd coaching staff as well. So Sweeney, I think he could be obviously one of the main guys, as he's been a assistant coach for a long time, and I think it's fair to give him a shot. And he's kind of a defensive coach. I don't know if anyone has been paying attention to the San Antonio Spurs in these playoffs, but he's been really well as a defensive coach. And that's kind of what the Magic's identity has been. Defensive wise, very defensive, defensive grounded. And so obviously we've seen kind of how they've been playing against the Spurs, or sorry, excuse me, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and that's been a back and forth battle between OKC and the Spurs right now. But also, I like to what I also heard. I was watching a video that he was also on that Jason Kidd's team, or he was on the Mavericks team where the Luka Doncic and them beat OKC to go to the finals. So Sean Sweeney obviously has the experience. He's obviously has a defensive, scheme to go on how to, defeat teams like OKC, who's an absolute powerhouse. And I don't think you can count out Sean Sweeney. I don't think you can count him out at all. It's just whether, like I said, who's going to sell themselves the best to get this head coach position for the Magic. Another one that I think is pretty good, and who can represent the team, I think, good as well, is actually Sam Cassell. Has a much experience as a player, but also as an assistant coach. 17 years as an assistant coach. Has won championships as a player and the assistant coach, and has worked with Joe Mazzulla. And I believe he's also helped young stars develop. I believe Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of them. But he's also been around with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And I think he knows a winning culture being in Boston and working under Joe Mazzulla. And so I don't think you can count out Sam Cassell as well, but I just don't see him becoming the head coach. I think he's kind of on the back burner. I really think Sean Sweeney, Billy Donovan, and Jason Kidd is kind of on the top Magic's priority of who you should go get. And if I had to, I think you got to give the new guy a shot. I think you got to go for Sean Sweeney. And I know that's kind of the same thing with what we did with, Jamahl Mosley, getting, assistant coach, head coach, or assistant coach. But Sean Sweeney, he has a great resume, and also developing young stars as well, which I think that could help elevate Franz and Paolo's game as well. And obviously Billy Donovan and Jason Kidd, obviously they're great picks, but I think Sean Sweeney is going to really take this Magic team to the next step. And like I said, whoever in these rounds of interviews, they just have to figure out who's going to lead this Magic team to the next level, because this isn't a rebuilding team. This is a team that is striving to win a championship. And there's not much time with contracts and stuff. So they have to figure it out. But that will be it for Six Pack Sports today. I hope you enjoyed. And we'll kind of talk about more of the roster and everything, and how that's kind of just constructed in a different video, and who's kind of going to fit into when and where into this coming season. So we'll kind of get into that, but thank you again for tuning in to this episode of Six Pack Sports. My name is Sam Madrigal. Thank you again. Over and out.